for Gators Breakdown? Join Gators Breakdown Plus. Starting at $3 a month, get access to unique episodes, plus a blog, chat room, giveaways, shout-outs, and more. Gators Breakdown Plus is furthering the interaction with fans and listeners like you. Head to gatorsbreakdown.supportingcast.fm to join Gators Breakdown Plus today. Gators Breakdown, because there's never a dull moment in Gator Nation.
The Gators Breakdown podcast is ready to go. I'm your host, David Waters, and you can find me on Twitter at GatorDave_SEC. Here we are, Thursday morning. As I said, sometimes, when I put this many episodes out in a week or whatever, you never know when I'll be able to. I got to do it. I still got to spend time with my family, especially right before football season starts. Try to get in all that family time before I can. So sometimes it's just going to be up in the air. We'll always have that Monday night, Tuesday night episode. When the season starts, we're pretty much in a formula. Sunday after the game, Monday night, and Wednesday, Thursday slashes, for an opponent preview. But as we lead up to the season and I start doing more episodes, I just squeeze them in when I can, when I get a free second, right before I start my job, or maybe even late at night sometimes. But got to get in all the family time I can right now before the season starts. So coming at you on a Thursday morning live on YouTube. Get that episode out later. If you watch the replay version on YouTube or the podcast version, there you'll be able to have it many ways. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're watching there on YouTube. Share it, rate it, review it on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, all that good stuff. That really helps us out here on Gators Breakdown. So on Wednesday, we get to hear from Greg Knox the first time this fall camp. Malik Davis and Tre'Vez Johnson all spoke to the media. Of course, running back, heavy topic anyway, but now it's running back heavy because of who we got to speak to with Greg Knox and Malik Davis. So a lot to get into there. Of course, we know this group effort there at the running back position. So we get into all that here with Greg Knox and Malik Davis, talking about the running back position. So we'll start with Greg Knox. What does it take to get on the field for Dan Mullen, Greg Knox running back? And what does that mean in regards to Lorenzo Lingard and DeMarcus Bowman?
I tell them when they first get here, it takes two things to play here. Number one, you got to protect the ball. Number two, you got to protect the quarterback. If you can't do those two things, you can't play. I can't justify putting you in the game. So I think everyone in that room, they understand that. I think it's understanding how to read a defense, how to gather information that the defense is giving you, and then be able to process it. All right? And I think that's one of the biggest keys with our guys. I think that's why Lorenzo is playing much faster now than he played last year, because he's more comfortable in offense. He can process information, and he can use it to his advantage and execute at a high level. So I see that in all my veteran guys, whether it be Pierce, Davis, Naquan Wright, Lingard, those guys that have been in the program for years, they play relaxed and they execute at a high level because they don't think, they just react. He is very explosive. He is a very, very good running back, okay? Now we just got to get him to understand the offense, learn the offense, and develop as a young player. He's still a young player. He's still a freshman, and so he's learning a totally new offense. And like I said earlier, all right, pass protection is one of the biggest things that he has to grasp and take hold of as a young player. And so for that for him, it's tough right now, but he's learning a lot.
That last bite there was about DeMarcus Bowman, of course, being the freshman in this rotation. A lot to get to there. Look, we heard from Dan Mullen earlier in the week about the importance of being able to put a running back out there and not be a liability in pass protection. And Knox says, look, there's two things you can't do, or there's two things you have to do to play running back at Florida. You have to protect the ball, you have to protect the quarterback. So, of course, That begs the question, or not really, it could beg the question, but also gives us an answer maybe why Lorenzo Lingard didn't see a whole lot of time on the field last year, and maybe why DeMarcus Bowman will be behind the veterans and Lorenzo Lingard as well, the veterans in the group here. So you're going to hear me sniffling a little bit. Allergies are kicking my butt right now, but I'm coming at you in an episode anyway. So you just have to disregard all the sniffles. So, what does that mean, though? I think that definitely means your veterans in this group are going to me, get a majority of the carries. Your Pierce, your Davis, your Wright, your Lingard, and, Bowman will be behind those guys in trying to get some carries. That lets us know why we didn't see a whole lot of Lorenzo Lingard last year. He had a lot to learn and not have a liability out there. You can't get your quarterback hit because the running back doesn't know what to do. No matter what they bring to the table, as far as being able to hit big plays or be able just to run the ball, that's not going to be enough here in the Greg Knox, Dan Mullen offense and their running backs. So, to me, how do you play that? I think, for somebody like DeMarcus Bowman, I know everybody wants to see him. I want to see him. You go back to the springtime there, if he lives up to the recruiting profile, he will be the most explosive running back Dan Mullen has ever had, and the best running back Dan Mullen has ever had. But he's got to live up to that. And for a Dan Mullen offense, it looks like it's going to take a while for a true freshman to live up to being the back that could be on the field a lot. So what I think this means for Florida and DeMarcus Bowman, maybe you take advantage early in the season before defenses catch on if DeMarcus Bowman is having problems, catching up in pass protection, catching up and learning what to run on offense and being able to run the right plays, know the right plays, know where you need to be in certain situations instead of just getting the ball and running the ball. So what to me that means early in the season you might can take advantage of that before teams catch on what DeMarcus Bowman means for a Florida offense. Because look, it can't be predictable. Then he goes out there and says, "Okay, well, we know he can't really pass protect, so when he comes out there, Florida's going to be running the ball." You can't be that predictable, even with a player like him. You can be special in some ways, and even if a defense knows what's coming, still have problems stopping it. But, if Florida has to call a pass play and he's out there and a defense knows they can take advantage of him, then it's going to happen, especially later on in the season. So I think early on in the season, you get him some reps versus FAU and USF. But then if he doesn't have I don't expect him to have the full offense down, but if he doesn't have a grasp on a lot of the offense, there's still, to me, has to be a package. Look, I'm not saying I know more than the coaches, and of course I don't. I don't. But what I would like to see, I guess, is a package for Bowman early on in the season before teams have time to catch up and know his tendencies and know what he's good at and what he's bad at. That third game versus Alabama, maybe there's a package for Bowman, and you get his explosiveness on the field, and maybe it equates to a big play, it equates to a touchdown that you may need in a very close game. Maybe there's a package there for him before teams catch on, and he knows what to do in those package of plays. That look, hey, we'll work on this group of plays. You'll be on the field. Hopefully, we get a big play out of it. Hopefully, everything is moving. We know your capability. We know your explosion capability. We need that in a game like this. So here's a package of plays. We're going to get you a package of plays, and you're going to have to know what to do on these 10 plays that we're going to have you set up for a drive. And hopefully it's a 2-3 play drive because DeMarcus Bowman hits a 75-yard run. Hopefully that's the capability of somebody like a DeMarcus Bowman if he's not fully caught up in the offense there. So, but eventually, that will catch up to Florida if there's only a certain set of plays that he can run. As the season wears on, he's going to have to expand his playbook. Florida's going to have to expand his playbook so defenses can't catch on. But early on in the season, I think you can take advantage of that before tendencies start to catch up with you. So, you may see DeMarcus Bowman flash early. Two reasons: because you're playing some overmatched opponents, so that gets him on the field a little earlier, I think, in those first couple games. You should see a whole lot of DeMarcus Bowman if he's behind those other guys in the third quarter and the fourth quarters of those games, salting those games away. But then Alabama comes to town, a package of plays that Alabama doesn't know what's coming, because you're probably not going to show a whole lot of it those first couple games. They don't know what's coming with DeMarcus Bowman, and you can take advantage of it in that way because he's a talent that needs to be on the field in big games. With he's recruited just like those Alabama players are. He's a highly rated running back, highly rated player overall. You need your elites on the field, but your elites on the field have to know what to do, even as young players. So that's what I look for with DeMarcus Bowman maybe early on in the season before some things, catch up with him if he's not fully grasping the playbook there. Knox did say he's taking notes, he's learning, but from asking around, he is behind. He is behind, of course. He missed spring a little bit as well. I think Knox said he played. They had him in 5 practices in the spring before he went down with an injury, so he's behind in that regard. And you can study all you want the notebook of the playbook, of course, but until you're out there on the field and able to apply it, things are weird, things are different, and it's just going to take reps and time, practice reps and time to get out there on the field. And that's something we saw with Lingard last year. Of course, I think Will mentioned it. Will Miles mentioned it in the last episode of Gators Breakdown. You could tell there was a different speed, a different gear with Lorenzo Lingard. But if he's not out there, doesn't know the offense, can't protect the quarterback, then it's a liability out there. So that's what it takes to get on the field. Don't turn the ball over, protect the quarterback. That's what these coaches are looking for from this running back position. So here we go. Continuing with Greg Knox and the group effort for the running backs and understanding what it takes to play in the offense and helping the offensive line along the way.
We got several guys to go to, so it's not really a one-man show, not a one-man feature. It's the versatility of our group and how we use them in our offense. We as running backs are understanding how to deliver, all right, the second-level player, the linebackers, to the line. Not the line having to chase those guys, but as backs, we deliver the second-level players to our linemen, and then we allow our linemen to block them. So basically what we're doing is we're sitting up the blocks and creating big plays, and we got to continue to do a great job of that. It's patience, all right? It's patience also, but it's knowledge and understanding of the blocking scheme. So as a running back, you have to understand the blocking scheme. Is it a zone scheme? Is it a gap scheme? What's the blocking scheme, and how can I use the blocking scheme to my advantage?
There you go. So that's some more about playing the running back position, helping your offensive line, using some patience, setting up your blocks, help that offensive line. You got to help that offensive line a bit. And look, that's a big change from the last couple of years where quarterback was dropping back 40 times a game and passing the ball. Now, now there's the change where you might be running the ball 35, 40 times a game, and you're going to have to be in sync with your offensive line. And that's going to be a big part of this offense with here. And look, he mentioned the versatility of this group and how deep they are. And that's something with this offense that you're going to be able to pound away at defenses because you are so deep at running back. You can keep guys fresh. You can pound the ball over and over and over again, and those defenses are going to get tired. But since you can go 4 or 5 deep at running back, they're going to get tired of tackling fresh guys. And so I know a lot of people want to see a bell cow. I think at times you can see a bell cow. Now, if a guy goes out there and has a great week of practice and he's out there on the first couple of drives of the game and you can just see he's going 6, 7, 8 yards a pop, then you might ride with him. You might ride with whoever's doing that. Can Dameon Pierce be that? He's probably going to be starting most of the games out there. Can he bruise some defenses early and then have some other guys come in? You bring him back in the fourth quarter fresh and he's still pounding and bruising away defenses. That's the capability of this Florida offense. And if you want to go and have 35, 40 carries a game between these guys, then you have the opportunity to do that. You're not going to be splitting those carries. Very rarely does a running back going to go out there and average 20, 25 carries a game. The game has changed a bit, mostly because of all the passing. But a lot of coaches, they don't rely on just one running back like the old style of football. It's changing now. They want a group of players. Dan Mullen has pretty much always wanted a group of players and rotating the ball. Scarlett and Pirine in 2018, 2019, 2020. You didn't really run the ball all that much, so the numbers weren't there either. And now you're going to have quarterbacks this year. You're going to have quarterbacks taking carries as well. So the days of a running back 20, 25 carries, especially now in the Dan Mullen offense with the shift in the quarterback running, two quarterbacks more than likely at some points in the game. You're not going to split those carries among the running backs either. So, I mean, there's a chance for a whole lot of carries in ball games, wearing some defenses out. Like, these games could be closer than we want them to be, only because of the style of offense Florida plays. If you slow the game down a little bit with the running game, then you're not going to be scoring at a 2-minute drive clip more often. You're going to see a lot more 4 or 5 minute drives, maybe even longer at times. And look, we saw that with the Florida passing attack a lot too. It was, there weren't always quick strikes. You saw converting third down after third down, extending drives there. You might see that with the Florida run game too, with the group effort that they have and this offensive line. And what Greg Knox said about being able to take your offensive line to the second level and help block those linebackers, hopefully that's what translates to bigger plays from this running back position, because a lot of the time, and you go back and track it, and we've done it here on this offseason in Gators Breakdown, it's the big plays that have been lacking in the run game from this Florida run game the last couple of years. So maybe it's more about, there were chances we saw some big plays happening, and maybe the running backs were at fault, not necessarily the offensive line. Show a little bit of patience, take your lineman to the second level of the defense, get that linebacker block, and then maybe you can spring the big play instead of, all right, well, I can get past the first level pretty easy, but there's a linebacker waiting on me because of the offensive line. And look, and some of that's on the offensive line too. You've got to block that first level, get to the second level, or if you're pulling, get to that second level. But that's on the running backs too to express that patience, wait on that offensive lineman to get to the second level, get that linebacker block, and you're springing a bigger play. So you see the running backs and the offensive line having to be in sync. That's what's going to help some of these big plays that's been lacking in the Florida run game the last couple of years. All right, so one player that was highlighted when we spoke to Greg Knox is Malik Davis. And Malik Davis also gave us his thoughts. But Malik Davis, here's Knox and Davis on Malik Davis and where he's heading at into this season.
I think his biggest jump he's made has been mentally, because he's come back mentally stronger from that injury. And you can see with the mental jump, he's also been a confidence factor. So he's been very, very confident in his ability again. I think it's kind of what you've seen his freshman year when he was here and he played and he was very explosive. I think he's getting back to that. And I think he's back there now. He's having a great camp so far. He's doing well, and we're seeing that explosiveness that he showed when he was a freshman. In your offense, you can scheme up things for him, as we did with P. Ryan, to get one-on-one matchups with backers where, again, it makes a difficult matchup for the defense. He is really dynamic through the hole, and he's hitting it with speed, and you can see the confidence factor that he has right now when he's hitting holes. So not only just his versatility, but his ability to run powerful, break tackles, or make you miss.
Just being more knowledgeable of the game. I had a few injuries, which I wasn't allowed to play a lot of football. And now that I've had a few years under my belt back rolling, I think it's just being more confident, getting those reps in that I missed. The main thing is just getting reps in and being able to watch yourself and coach yourself. When you're sitting out and you're injured, you're not able to critique yourself and say what you would have did here, what you have done there, because you don't have any reps to look at. So I think being able to just look at myself and coach myself is the biggest thing.
I think we all want to see Malik Davis in that 2017 freshman form, where I think he missed a good bit of games. He got hurt in Vanderbilt later on in the season, and he still made freshman All-SEC, I believe, if I remember right. So that's the type of, that was a downtrodden Florida offense, and he was probably one of the lone bright spots there in that Florida offense in 2017. Got injured again, and we just really haven't been able to see a full Malik Davis according to these coaches because of the injury and him catching up from missing so much time. Played a lot last year. I know we all remember the fumble at Texas A&M that allowed Texas A&M to score late and beat Florida and he's had some turnover problems. But I still like Malik Davis, what he brings to the table. And I had mentioned, what this switch in offensive philosophy for this season with the running quarterbacks and all the running backs and more focused on the run game and what that meant for Dameon Pierce. But I think it also means a whole lot for Malik Davis, what he brings to the table as well as a running back and a pass catcher. He's somebody I still think he's very explosive. And you heard Knox say, like, he can be physical as well. But he's one of the most versatile pieces Florida has in that offensive backfield. And there's a whole lot of ways you can go with this Florida run game and this Florida offense and two-back sets and confusing defenses with zone reads and fake handoffs and all that stuff that comes with a zone read, power run offense that Dan Mullen likes to run. I think we're going to see that, and I think Malik Davis is going to be a huge part of that. And like, I know we're all excited for Lorenzo Lingard and Bowman. I am too, but I still think there's a lot that somebody like Malik Davis can bring to the table if we get that 2017 freshman form. He is that explosive, and he can hit those big plays through the passing game or the running game. I think he's going to be on the field a good bit from basically the way the coaches think of him, and just kind of everything that he brings to the table as a versatile playmaker in this Florida run game. And look, it's hard to know how much I think it affected the running game and the offensive line, the running backs, everything that encompasses the run game, the way the offense was played the last couple of years and the pass-heavy offense, and how that affected players like Pierce and Davis and Wright, who were playing and look, and no fault of them and no fault of the coaching staff. You needed to rely on that passing game. That was your offense. That was your explosive part of your offense, and it was hard to stop Pitts and Tony. But now, with this shift, I think it helps these guys. I think it helps these running backs. So all the potential I think we thought these guys could bring to the table the last couple of years, this is the perfect offense coming up to show that potential. So I think we get our right reads on Pierce, on Davis, and Wright, and these freshman backs because of the shift in offense. The relationship, of course, Florida goes 5 deep. That's kind of just been the theme here of this episode so far. Just they're not going to rely on one guys, but what's it like on and off the field from Malik Davis's perspective?
I expect big things. I expect us to be able to run the ball, catch the ball, protect the quarterback. I think all of us could do all of that all around. So I think we could bring a lot to the table. We're a family, and I'm not just saying this for camera. Like, when you come in there and you hang around us, you'll see we're laughing together all day, we're joking together all day, we're motivating each other. We're all close, so it's easy. I guess God just blessed me to be around those type of guys. He come in and guys have their own expectations, of course, and everybody wants to play. That's just the competitiveness that we have. Everyone wants to play, and for him to sit back and play his role that he had and support us, and every day he's the same type of guy. He's even today, we spoke today after practice about things that he liked that I did today, and he was pointing some of those things out to me, and that just shows you what type of person he is.
That last part there was about Lorenzo Lingard. So good to hear that. Look, 5-star recruit transferred in from Miami, and how supportive he is. This running back room is deep, and these guys are gonna, they can't be selfish. They start showing selfishness, then they're probably not going to play a whole lot. And I'm not saying that's why he didn't play last year, Lingard. No, I think he needed to learn along the way. And Florida had 3 backs that they really like to count on. So it just took some time for Lingard. But nice to know that these guys are close. Greg Knox had said it too, of how close these guys are in this running back room. They're going to have to be, and they're going to have to be teammates. That Dameon Pierce even going back to, I think, the first press conference of the fall, talk about how tight all these guys are at the running back position, and it's like a family there. It's going to have to be. There's of course, as he mentioned, these guys want to play. They're all going to want to play. And if Florida runs the ball a whole lot, there might be a way to keep them all, happy with numbers of carries. But hopefully they're all out there happy for each other, going to be teammates. After this year, and a lot of these guys are going to have their chance. Pierce is going to be gone. Davis is going to be gone. Wright has a really good season. He could be gone. Lingard, if he has a big season, he can be gone. So you never know how this is all going to play out here at the running back position for the Gators. So a lot of these guys, we have to look past this year a little bit as well in assessing what these running backs can be on the team for. So this year can go a long way in determining the future of who's on the roster for next year. We have no idea. We know two are for sure going to be gone, Davis and Pierce. But Lingard, he's had enough years removed from high school. He can leave whenever he wants to after this year, of course. So if he goes out there and shows out, Florida could be losing 3 of those guys, maybe even 4 of those guys, if they decide to go ahead and leave to go to the NFL. So the production has to be there, of course, or maybe transfer away if they don't see it happening. I don't see any of these guys transferring before the season. It's way too late right now to do anything and try and go into another team in another fall camp. So who Florida has right now, these 5 deep will be 5 deep all year, but it will be interesting to see how it all plays out during the season, numbers of carries, numbers of yards, and see, what the status of the running back room is after the season. But I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of divaness, if that's even a word, a whole lot of diva thoughts there from the running back position in these running backs. It seems like they're all coming together at the right time. And look, Davis said, look, he's not trying to say it just because he's on camera. Those guys really are a deep group, like to be together on and off the field, and at least saying all the right things about being out there and playing together and splitting all those carries. All right, Malik Davis now on what it's like to play this offense with Emory Jones, different from Kyle Trask.
With Emory, I think one of the most impressive things I see is the way his ability to extend plays. Last year we had Cal, and he was more as a pocket quarterback, and Emory, like you said, he could run a little more. So that's impressive. Like just seeing him able to escape the pocket and just create a big play. I definitely think he'll create larger holes, bigger passes, just because he's such a threat. When you got a mobile quarterback, it opens up doors for a lot of opportunities for other guys on the field.
I like hearing that too, because of course the unpredictability of a quarterback like that, it is. The defensive line can't rush. They can't pin their ears back when you have the mobility of a quarterback back there like Emory Jones or Anthony Richardson. Of course, I think we got to keep bringing his name up too when talking about this because he's going to play, I think, a lot as well. So it means opening holes for the running backs. If defensive linemen just can't key on the running, when Florida was running the ball last year, you knew more than likely Kyle Trask was going to hand it off to a running back if they were running the ball. So if it's a zone read or a handoff, a lot of the times you weren't really worried about Kyle Trask taking off with it. Or if you were, you take that risk. You play the running back. Kyle Trask isn't going to go run for 75 yards in a run. So you key in on the running back, make sure you got him stopped if he gets the ball. And if Kyle Trask keeps it, okay, oh, well, you can live with that. Defenses are not going to be able to play it that way this year. You're going to have to worry about Emory Jones keeping it and then going for a long run. So it's going to slow these defenses down. It's going to slow these defensive fronts down of not knowing what's coming in this running game. So that can lead to bigger plays. And RPO, I mean, if it's a fake handoff and then there's a wide receiver wide open because they're worried about a running quarterback, there you go. I mean, there's a lot of ways to go with this offense. So, it's going to be imperative that Emory Jones gets the offense down. Going to be imperative that the running backs can help protect him when passing plays are called or know what to do in a zone read, who to block if you don't get the ball, how to carry out a play fake. I mean, it's those little things like that are going to go in pairing this running game and this quarterback game together with Emory Jones. So there's a lot of ways to go with this offense, and Malik Davis letting you know what a mobile quarterback can do with this Florida offense and opening up lanes in the run game and having some wide receivers wide open down the field when defenses have to worry about a quarterback like that. All right, let's move to the defensive side of the ball before we sign off here on Gators Breakdown. And Tre'Vez Johnson, local 904 Jacksonville kid. And he's been on Gators Breakdown before too. So always good to hear from Tre'Vez, local Jacksonville kid, Bartram Trail. And look, we know the importance of the star position in this defense, and Tre'Vez Johnson gives his thoughts on that.
That's kind of like a hybrid position, so you gotta be able to do a lot of things. So I'm just trying to improve my game, whether it be covering, whether it be being in the box, tackling, fitting up, being physical, and just watching how, like you said, Chauncey and other guys that in the league and that's doing it at a high level, I just try to take a little bit from their game too. I'm just trying to improve physically and mentally, like especially the mental part of the game. I think that's something I had to make a transition to from last year. It's not just about going out there and playing. You got to know football. You got to know what tendencies and all stuff like that. So I'm just trying to like improve my game mentally as well as physically.
A lot of shoes to fill in that star position that haven't been filled since Chauncey Gardner-Johnson played that position in 2018. And here's one thing I think is encouraging about that position. I don't think it takes a lot of experience. You go back to 2017 and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, and look, not to single him out, the whole team played bad in 2017. But Chauncey Gardner-Johnson did not have a good 2017. Looked like he was afraid to tackle, could not tackle, giving up big plays. Todd Grantham comes in, puts him in that star role in 2018, and he fits in immediately and is making plays all year long, gets better in that position all year long. So it may take some playing experience, but it doesn't necessarily take experience in that exact role for somebody to come up and have success in that position. So Tre'Vez Johnson plays in that role a little bit last year, has some experience now, and he can translate that. Look, and it was tough for a true freshman like him. Nobody went through spring, but he didn't come on campus till fall, and then they throw him in there. And I know the staff liked what he could do in the red zone, and that's when we saw him a lot. They liked what he could do in that position in the red zone. But now it's expanding the role, and it's expanding the play. And, I mean, of course, we're all keying in on the defensive backfield, but and that star position and how important it is for this defense. And we've seen bad play there. It's been cycled through since Chauncey Gardner-Johnson left. It got okay at the end of the 2019 season when Marco Wilson played that position. He played it pretty well at the end of 2019, and it fell off in 2020. But he played that position okay, and taking over for Trey Dean, who struggled in that position in 2019. So now Tre'Vez Johnson and a few other players are battling out in that position. But I expect Tre'Vez, whether he's starting or not, to play in that position a whole lot. And I think take that experience from last year, be able to apply it, and be physical. You got to be physical. You got to be a hybrid, like he says. You got to be able to go out there, play the pass, play the run, and know the tendencies of an offense to play that position aggressively and physically. So I think getting back to what he learned last year is going to be really important for him to take those steps in playing that star position this year. But what can help him? What can help him out there? That's the other players, of course, and leadership on the defensive side of the ball.
There's a lot of leaders out there, a lot of vets out there. So, I mean, every day we try to push each other. Like I said, just trying to improve every day. But I think as a whole, we definitely are trying to progress more because we have a lot more leadership. A lot of guys that want to be out, like that want to lead, want to improve every day. So we got vets: Zach Carter, Kyer, Trey Dean, Miller. It's a lot of vets out there. So it's not hard or like to want to follow them because they've been through it, they've been doing it, they've been here. So I mean, I wouldn't say one specific guy because everybody trying to do it, everybody trying to rally up.
Everybody's trying to rally up, and that's what needs to be on defense. Communication was a huge issue last year. Leadership was a huge issue last year. All that's got to come together. And Kyer Elam, Zach Carter, Trey Dean, Ventrell Miller, those are the guys you're counting on. Those are the guys you're counting on to bring these young guys along because, look, there are a lot of new faces, especially back there in that secondary. So Kyer Elam, Trey Dean, they're instrumental back there on that defensive backfield, especially Jaden Hill goes down. He started 5 games last year. So now that's even more experience that goes by the wayside. And now you got to bring up a lot of other players who don't have starting experience. So it is imperative that Kyer Elam and Trey Dean help lead these guys like Tre'Vez Johnson along the way, and especially in that star role that's so important. Trey Dean may not have had success there, but he can help in what he learned from the position and maybe help apply it to another player who can go out there and just play it better. But there's a lot of experience that Trey Dean can share from that. and maybe even what not to do in that position. So. There's leadership comes from that, but the leadership to me comes from experience. Sometimes you just have the rare guy that can go out there with very little experience and lead. Most of the time, leadership comes from experience, and that's what Trey Dean, that's what Kyrie Elam, that's what Zach Carter, that's what Ventrell Miller bring to the table, and hopefully, that leadership, that communication furthers this defense into a bounce back, into a turnaround, because we've mentioned it a whole lot last year. I think they lost their confidence a good bit last year. Guys were playing out of position last year. They didn't feel comfortable. I think in not feeling comfortable, the leadership fell by the wayside. Kyrie Elam, he played about as well as he could last year, but hard to rally. I think when all the rest of the defensive backfield kind of just lost their confidence, and then up front, Zach Carter's not playing in the position that's really best for him a whole lot. No, don't get me wrong. You got to do what's best for the team. That's what was best for the team, but not feeling comfortable there. I think he got more comfortable. He played really good toward the end of the season. Had a really good SEC championship game versus Alabama. Maybe that's something to build on. Maybe that's something to build on up front for leadership. For leadership role from Zach Carter up front. But playing in more natural positions and being more comfortable, I think, leads to leadership out there, because you're not frustrated. You're not frustrated that you're not making the plays that you're not want to make because you're playing out of position. Now you're playing in position, you feel more comfortable, and I do think that can help the mentality, the mental side of this defense, and let these leaders emerge up there. And I think that defensive front plays better. That trickles down to the linebackers. Ventrell Miller will feel a lot more comfortable because he's not getting eaten up by offensive lines over and over again. So I think great play does will go far in the leadership aspect as well. I think as long as these guys feel comfortable, as long as these guys are out there making plays, then it just it's a snowball effect. It just kind of builds upon itself, and you can let that build towards leadership. But look, they're going to be tough times. They're going to be tough times. There's going to be bumpy roads. And if it's early on, that's what these leaders are going to have to put their foot down and not let it spiral out of control like it did last year. You're going to have to put your foot down eventually and say, nope, it can't happen. It can't happen like it did last year. We got to come together, bring it all back together. If that comes along early, that Alabama game's early on in the season, you got to go out there and play confident. Play confident in the first couple games, of course, too. I think you can get a little bit of confidence there. But everybody's going to be keying in on Alabama week 3. And even if that game doesn't go right, the leadership still has to be there. Not let that game affect the rest of the season. But go out there, play well, do your best. As long as that happens, I think these leadership roles that they're filling, it'll be okay. It'll be okay. But I do think I like the makeup of this team, especially up front. I think it starts there. I like the leadership up front. There's 2 transfers, Zach Carter, Brenton Cox. There's a whole lot of experience there up front for those Gators. It starts there on the defense. I think that it bleeds over into everybody else in those leadership roles as well. So, all right, there we go. That'll do it for this episode of Gators Breakdown. Thanks for hopping on and joining in. About a good bit of you there in the morning, even with a surprise episode there. So thank you very much if you're on that live view from YouTube. Hey, leave me some comments out there if you want to extend the conversation a little bit. Leave some comments there on in the comment section here on YouTube. So all right, that will do it. I'm your host of Gators Breakdown, David Waters. You can find me on Twitter at GatorDave_SEC. Guys and girls out there, thanks for listening to this episode of Gators Breakdown.